Tell me what your reaction is to the arrest of Keefe D.
Well, surprise number one, because I didn't think Keefe D would never get arrested.
Old Suge Knight heard pretty quickly about Keefe D's arrest, and he spared no time in letting the word out about how he felt. After a short jail call, Suge Knight broke his silence on Keefe D and how involvement in the murder of Tupac Shakur. What happened with Keefe? So our main man Dwayne Davis, aka Keefe D, didn't get nabbed for Tupac Shakur's murder until late September, but his connection to the shooting has been out in the open for ages. The cops had their eye on him as a suspect right after the killing, even though they never slapped him with charges. Las Vegas police decided to give the case another look and confirmed it was still open. They later revealed that his arrest was a result of this and subsequent interviews. Lieutenant Jason Johansson explained that it wasn't until 2018 that they got a fresh lead because of Keefe D admitting his involvement to various media outlets. In July of 2023, when cops searched Keefe D's crib, they snagged a copy of his 2019 memoir, Compton Street Legend, co-written with Yusuf Ja, where he went into more detail about the shooting.
This is the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. We have a search warrant for the resident. Please come out with your hands up and your hands empty.
Now, let's rewind the tape and see how we got here in the first place. Let's go back to September 1996 when we lost Pac. On that fateful night in 1996, Anderson was reportedly in the back of a Cadillac with Keefe D and two other Southside Crips when they rolled up next to Suge Knight and Tupac in a BMW, and then the shots flew. They were stopped at a red light near the Las Vegas Strip when a white Cadillac rolled up and all hell broke loose. Tupac passed away a week later at the young age of 25. Keefe D kept his mouth shut for a few years, but it wasn't long before he would start disclosing his side of the story. Keefe D started spilling the beans about his role in the shooting back in 2008, when he talked to Los Angeles police in exchange for immunity in a PCP ring case. His confession came to light in a 2011 book called Murder Rap by author Kei D, a former detective who worked on the case in LA. The LA Weekly also did a cover story where they discussed Keefe D's comments. And guess what? Keefe D's confession even formed the basis for the 2018 Netflix series Unsolved, where Lamar Tate played the man himself. According to Keefe D's account, it was his nephew, Orlando Baby Lane Anderson, who pulled the trigger on Tupac from their car. He added that he was ready to open fire if Tupac and Suge Knight had driven up on his side. The gun was a Glock 40, stashed in a hidden compartment in the car's armrest. He said, "I never told nobody that story, man." Keefe D also claimed that Sean Diddy Combs ordered the hit, allegedly telling him, "Man, I want to get rid of those dudes," referring to Tupac and Suge Knight. However, Diddy dismissed Keefe D's account as pure fiction and completely ridiculous. Keefe D suggested that Diddy's beef with Suge began with Suge's infamous diss at the 1995 Source Awards.
Any artist out there want to be an artist and want to stay a star, don't want to have to worry about the executive producer trying to be all in the videos, all on the record, dancing, come to Death Row.
Initially, Diddy supposedly only wanted Knight taken out, but after Tupac released Hit 'Em Up, a diss track targeted at the Notorious B.I.G. and Bad Boy Records, Diddy allegedly included Tupac in the hit list. Keefe D claimed they hashed out a deal at Greenblatt's Deli, where he asked for $1 million to off both Tupac and Suge Knight, to which he says he told Diddy, "We'll wipe their ass out quick, man. It's nothing." However, Keefe D insisted that the Southside Crips never received the alleged $500,000 payment from Diddy. On a different note, unrelated to the shooting, Keefe D informed the police that Diddy used his brown 1964 Chevy in Usher's Can You Get With It music video. He claimed that that car got messed up during the shooting, and Combs paid him $2,500 to get it repainted. In 2018, Keefe D decided to spill the beans, claiming he was the only one alive who could tell the real story behind Tupac's killing. He said he was doing it because he was battling cancer and had nothing left to lose. "All I care about is the truth," he added. During this revelation, Keefe D for the first time publicly admitted that he was in the Cadillac when Tupac was gunned down. He mentioned he was in the passenger seat with Terrence Bubble Up Brown at the wheel and Orlando Baby Lane Anderson and DeAndre Freaky Smith sitting in the back. According to Keefe D, they initially went to Club 662, owned by Suge Knight, to catch Tupac's performance, but left before he showed up. While driving off, they spotted Tupac sticking his head out the car after some girls yelled his name. Keefe D explained, "If he hadn't stuck his head out that window, we would have never seen him." According to Keefe D, their car made a U-turn and they ended up at the stoplight beside Tupac's car. He recalled, "When I pull up, I was in the front seat. I happened to see my friend Suge. Keefe D mentioned that someone from the backseat fired at Tupac, but didn't reveal who. He said, I'm keeping that for the street code. It came from the backseat, bro.
You said the shots came from the back. Big Dre, Orlando. Who shot Tupac?
They keep it for the code of the streets. It just came from the backseat, bro.
In his 2019 memoir, Compton Street Legend, Keefe D delved deeper into what had previously been told to the police. He wrote about a supposed meeting with Diddy at Greenblatt's, where Diddy was asking them for a hit on Tupac and Suge Knight. He wrote that supposedly Diddy was full of fear, and Keefe D seemed to have reassured him by saying that's not a problem. He also claimed that Hit 'Em Up had angered the Southside Crips because Tupac allegedly said, if you want to be down with Bad Boy, then fuck you too. The Southside Crips had a tradition of going to Las Vegas to watch Mike Tyson fight. On this particular trip to Vegas, things took a drastic turn. After the fight, he and the Crips planned to meet at the MGM Grand Cafe. But Baby Lane, his nephew, didn't show up. Keefe D said that they were told that some East Coast Crips had seen some Death Row affiliates jump his nephew down by the casino. Just days earlier, one of the Southside Crips had stolen Death Row chain from an associate at the Lakewood Mall in California. He was allegedly part of the group that attacked Baby Lane. Keefe D claimed that this personal vendetta made the hit on Tupac more urgent. He wrote, when conversations came up about $1 million bounty on the heads of Suge Knight and Tupac Shakur, that was business. But after Tupac, Suge, and those Death Row affiliates jumped my nephew Baby Lane, the shit became ominously personal. Keefe D then described getting a .40 caliber Glock from a man named Zip, who was hanging out with the rapper Foxy Brown. They planned to go to Club 662 for a Death Row after party where Tupac was supposed to perform. He first intended to confront Suge, whom he had known for a long time. But after Tupac and Suge didn't show up for an hour and a half, Keefe D called off the mission. Lucky for them, they never showed up because it would have been like Al Capone's Valentine's Day massacre if they had. He wrote, at some point, when the group stopped to buy champagne, Keefe D moved to the Cadillac with Bubble Up, Freaky, and Baby Lane and stashed the Glock in the back. He recounted seeing Tupac stick his head out of the BMW, Bubble Up turning their car around and pulling up next to Tupac and Suge at a stoplight. He wrote that Suge looked terrified and Tupac reached for a gun. That's when the fireworks started. He wrote, one of my guys from the backseat grabbed the Glock and started busting back. Afterward, they saw 2 ambulances carrying Tupac and Knight. The group ditched the Cadillac and then popped our bottles and partied like it was any other night. The rest is history. However, Suge Knight, who has a stake in this entire thing, gave his 2 cents on Keefe D, his arrest, and he even told us if he would be willing to cooperate with law enforcement in helping to find the truth. Suge spills the beans. So Suge did an interview from a Cali prison. Surprise, surprise, he's refusing to snitch on Dwayne Keefe D Davis. Even though Suge was there and driving the car when the rapper got shot, he's not spilling the beans at all. According to Suge Knight, Orlando Baby Lane Anderson, who's now deceased, wasn't the one who pulled the trigger in that drive-by shooting that took Tupac's life. Suge's serving time for voluntary manslaughter, but he's keeping his lips sealed. As we've mentioned already, last week Keefe D got nabbed for his role in the 1996 murder of the Bay Area hip-hop legend.
Hey Keith, Metro Police, come over here. Hey Metro Police, come over here, all right? Thanks, buddy. Come on over here. Appreciate your cooperation, okay? I'm gonna stand right here in front of the car. Yep, bud. Yep, go and put it down. I know, hang on. Put that down for a second, all right? Okay. You have anything on you, sir?
It's a major turning point in the case that stayed unsolved for 27 long years. Suge Knight was pretty shocked when he heard a jury indict Keefe. Turns out they go way back, like childhood friends. Suge even mentioned that they used to play Pop Warner football together. He don't want anyone to go to prison, no matter what they're mixed up in. Suge said,
nor do I want to see him get arrested. You know, let's get one thing straight, first and foremost. You know, me and Keefe D played on the same Pop Warner football team. And whatever the circumstances, if he had an involvement with anything, if he didn't have any involvement in anything, who want to see, I wouldn't wish somebody going to prison on my worst enemy.
Keefe, one of the early suspects in the case, got arrested in Vegas on September 29th. He wasn't the one who pulled the trigger, but the authorities call him the mastermind of the crew. He actually owned up to supplying the gun that was used in the drive-by shooting. In Nevada, you can get charged with a crime, even murder, if you helped someone do it. Suge Knight stipulated roughly the same thing when we spoke to the interviewer just the other day. He told them,
there was only 2 people in the car. And Pac not going to tell the story. I ain't going to tell the story, but I tell you this. And I never had nothing bad to say about Orlando because, number one, he wasn't the shooter. Number two, he came to my hearing and told to let me go and told the truth. They still didn't let me go.
According to Las Vegas police, Keefe was the big boss for the crew that did the dirty work, and he hatched the whole plan. Turns out that the incident set off a chain reaction that led to Tupac's death, as per Las Vegas police. Anderson passed away 2 years later, maintaining that he had nothing to do with Shakur's death. Now the 60-year-old Keefe is facing a murder charge with a deadly weapon, plus an extra 20 years if convicted due to gang activity. He's got a court date coming up, and by now, it may have already been finished. When they asked Suge Knight if he'd step up to the plate and testify during the trial, he was very crystal clear. That ain't happening. He bluntly said, "I'm not gonna hop on the stand and spill the beans about someone. What's the point, man? I'm not doing it, not testifying. None of that nonsense."
If you are called to testify in this case,
I wouldn't be. I wouldn't be.
why not?
Yeah, I wouldn't be.
Why not?
Well, number one, because I'm not gonna get on the stand and testify on somebody for what?
Suge's been singing the same tune for a long while now. He's been saying that he was the real target of that shooting, and he thinks it all boiled down to a Death Row Records power struggle. Back in 2017, he even pointed fingers at his ex-wife, Sharitha Golden. At the end of all this, Keefe's the last one standing from this quartet, the others being Terrence Bubble Up Brown and DeAndre Freaky Smith, both of whom were in that car when the shots were rained down on Shakur and Knight that evening. Shakur's older brother, Mopreem, shared his thoughts on the arrest, calling it bittersweet. He's holding out for more updates and saying the universe is at work and Pac's still with us.
It's bittersweet. It's bittersweet for a number of reasons. The time, of course, 27 years, and it didn't have to be this way. Keep your popcorn. We're still waiting for things to unfold. The universe is working. Pac is still here.
Absolutely.
So stay tuned.
One person online thinks the same way. They said, Pac is still here. Yes, he is. God bless you and your family. May he rest in power forever. Pac's case is far from over, so buckle up and have patience. Who knows what else will happen? Thanks for sticking with us until the very end. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to click like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for more fresh hip-hop news straight to your feed. Now, before you go off to our next video, you always got to remember to keep it RIZZLE.